Artist is Peter Watrous. Thank you.
Peter Watrous, and I grew up in this area, and I gave a talk maybe 2 or 3 years ago about the history of art in Schenectady over the last 75 years. And this one is going to be more about the history of me, I think.
Good.
It's a fascinating subject to me, but hopefully it'll be somewhat interesting to you and people involved. So my first artistic act was to be born into the family that I was born into. John, brother, the same family, of course. And it was, our parents were artists, and art was in the air there in the family. We didn't talk, we were like any other family, we talked about a lot of other things. We weren't talking about art all the time, but if you wanted to spend some time with our father, and he wasn't building the house or working at his job, he would be down at the studio painting art and doing his art. And he did a lot of that. My mother, on the other hand, was upstairs. She didn't do much art, but she loved to talk about art and think about art and teach art. She eventually was a teacher, instructor at Schenectady Community College. So John became an artist. That was pretty clear you were going to be an artist because you were doing that in your teenage years. You were drawing and doing sculpture and that sort of thing. I was playing basketball and doing other things. I wasn't thinking about doing art at all until I went to college at NYU. I was studying social, I was majoring in sociology and thinking about becoming a social worker. But then I took an art history course in my senior year, and that just opened my eyes to, first of all, the fact that I knew a lot about art that I didn't really think about in that kind of organized way. And secondly, that I just really loved the history of art all the way from early art, cave paintings, to the art of the day at that time. And so that was actually in 1968. So I graduated in January 1969, and here I am on the cusp of being wed to social work career, and I run off like Dustin Hoffman's girlfriend, the graduate, and say, I'm gonna go off and follow my love, art, my new love. And so I got a job as a taxi driver with my college education, and I started taking classes at the Art Students League, which was very easy to do. You didn't just have to sign up and do it. I can't say they were very great classes, but it did give you a card saying that you were an art student, and that allowed you to get out of Museum of Modern Art for free on certain days, and probably some other museums too, but I tend to deal with either the Museum of Modern Art or the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which was free anyway. They didn't have somebody at the door collecting money like they do now. But so that's where a lot of my art education was taking place until the summer of 1969, which was also the summer of the Woodstock Festival. And I found out that the Art Students League had a program for starving young artists to go to Woodstock and study at their school there, their summer school there, for a reduced price. And I paid $15 a month to live in a barn that they provided. And, so that there were a bunch of us young, starving artists at that point in time, about maybe 8 to 10 of us at the very most. And so we spent the summer there, and that whole era of being in our Students' League and what that meant for me, I wrote up for the Woodstock School of Art because it was a time of transition from the Art Students' League of New York becoming in Woodstock, the Woodstock School of Art. So it was an interesting time for that organization, and a very interesting time in my life. But I came back, and in 1970, my wife Margaret and Margaret started living in our rundown apartment in the Bronx, and we were only paying like $60 a month for rent. We had another roommate too to share it with, so we didn't have a lot of expenses. But at any rate, I signed up for a class to go to Hunter College and take art classes there. Nobody else signed up for that class, so they said, well, you can go ahead and use the studio there for whatever you want to do. Now, the studio was bigger than this room at that point, and it really beckoned for doing something large. So that's this picture. I don't know if you can see it with light on it, but that's me. Margaret's taking that picture on the rooftop of Hunter College, doing folded cut pieces that was sort of a study for what it might be in the end. And that was inspired by clothes folding. You know, you think about, here I am graduating from college, no art training to speak of, and I'm thinking maybe I can become an artist, a professional artist, which seems crazy, and it probably was. But on the other hand, when you had Jackson Pollock throwing painting at canvases, you had Andy Warhol making, pop art, and you had minimalist painting just coming in, where you could have a black boxes and charge thousands of dollars for it. So it almost seemed at that point that having a traditional art education was exactly what you didn't want to do. So anyway, but on the other hand, I didn't want to be a starving artist. So this is me then, but a year later, 1970, I'm trying to think, but anyway, right in that period of time, Mark and I decided that being poor in New York City was not for us. And living in the neighborhood, kind of a sketchy neighborhood, was not great either. So we moved back to Schenectady. Margaret and I both came from this area. And then life changed. We got married in that year, 1971, and I got a real job for the first time in my life as a probation officer, so that continued on that way for a few years, and then in 1975, we get some coffee here. Bought an old house in Duansburg, which we're still living in. Needed a lot of work. I had, by that time, gotten a master's degree in social work, and also my first real social work job at that time. So, and the bigger thing is we had our first child, our son, Ben. Everybody who's had children knows when you do that, you don't have time for anything else. So that was really pretty much the end of my artistic career at that point, until I was, reaching retirement age in 2000, starting to think about what I'm going to do in retirement years. It's a lot of time in there that you can use. And so I thought that I'd want to get back into art again. And it just so happened that Karen Rosasco, who was a well-known artist in this area, she's now living in Virginia, but she was a teacher of the local high school, Duanesburg High School, adult education art classes. She is a wonderful teacher. And so I took watercolor classes with her for about 3 years. And that really got me back into wanting to do art again. So I thought, after the classes, and I'm retired now, what am I going to do? You know, I don't want to just do pretty pictures of watercolors, scenes. So I thought back to what I had been doing in New York. I didn't want to do the giant things. I didn't have room for that or time for that. I didn't think I could sell them fast enough. And so I started, this was one of the first things I did at that time. And this one is very similar to these that I'm going to talk about, but it's easier to understand, I think, than the other ones are. They're basically the same. This is a piece of watercolor paper painted on both sides, one side yellow, one side blue, and then cut in various ways, but it all fits together. It's not different pieces. It's not a collage. It's more like origami, or I consider it like two-dimensional sculpture. So that was what I started doing, and then I had various permutations of this. They're all different ones, but these are similar ones in that these were painting a picture and then cutting it up. And that's, you know, that's, if you kind of like the picture and you think it might work out well and you're cutting it up, you can't go back from that, you know. So, and I often use nature themes like this one, the wild fruit one. And so what you can't tell from these as well as from that is these, if you could pick up this piece of canvas here, it would hang and it would not fall apart. It's a piece, it's a sculptural piece, except the background is painted black here and this purple in here. So it's just two pieces of canvas stuck to each other. And the same is true with this. This is Déjeuner Interpol, but I don't know how. Anyway,
The French days.
French for interrupted lunch. And interrupted is the pun on the cut up canvas. That one won first prize at the Stockade Art Show in 2013. So that really made me feel like, gee, maybe I could, you know, maybe I will be able to do something worthwhile in art. And it was, besides the prize, it was just nice to have the recognition at that time. So
I think that's a beautiful piece. It's just compositionally, color balance, it's just, I love that.
Yeah. Well, it was fun to make, and it's also, you know, fun to think about. So you had a picture, a painting there, and then you're going to destroy it in order to make something new.
Something new.
You know, that idea of destroying to create is kind of an interesting idea as well. So I did that for about 10 years, and there were all different kinds of ways that I did it. But then I began to say, well, what am I interested in? What am I watching in museums and art exhibits? And it was really more figurative work, more expressive work. I particularly became interested in the work of the Aboriginal, Australian Aboriginal stone paintings that were done. I liked children's art, and I liked the art of the black untutored, various names for untutored black artists, but at any rate, the art that they were doing, where it was so fresh and it was so immediate and so expressive. That's what I liked about it. It was, anyway, that's what I wanted to do, was to do more figurative and expressive art with an element of abstraction too. And that carried on for the last 10 years. And so I've been doing that mostly with acrylic and paint. But in the last 2 years, I've done more of the collages. This piece is over here. This piece is called Our Better Angels. And the thing I love about this is done with tissue paper. And it is, the great thing about tissue paper is that it's translucent, so that you get that, you can get depth in that way. And the other thing I like about it is the color. They get just beautiful colors in tissue paper. So this one, I don't know what it means, but you know, it's Our Better Angels, I guess, in the circle around whatever that is in the middle.
They're energy. They're good energy.
What?
They're good karma and energy that they're going to spread around.
Yeah, I felt it had good karma, right? Which was better angels. And also, I'm not sure that the middle of that has good karma. That may be the angels containing the not so a cyclone of whatever is in there. I don't know. You can come up with your own ideas about what it is. But anyway, that's what I've been doing for the last couple of years is the tissue paper collage, and that's been fun to do. Most of it's actually been about dancing figures in an abstract way. So if you want to see more of that, I didn't bring I have a few cards with me. You can see the website I have. And that's it. Any questions or any comments, anything else anyone wants to say?
Do you, when you start your art project, does it come naturally, or do you already have in mind what you want to do?
I guess I pretty much have an idea of where I'm going with it. I mean, with the tissue paper, you can just start and put it down, paper down, and that sort of thing. And then the idea kind of develops. But, if you put a circle here, it's all of a sudden a head, and you do that, or if you put a long straight piece or a curved piece that's narrow, it's all of a sudden a limb, it's a leg or an arm or something like that. So it begins to make itself once you start doing that. So then you have to begin to make choices about what you want. That wasn't the case with this. The figures around it are pretty much painted in, although they're also collage. But I kind of knew when I started that what I wanted to do with that piece. So that was my planned piece. Even though I think I knew that I wanted to be a circular feeling in the middle there.
It's a beautiful piece. It's really eye-calling, unity, oneness. I don't know. It's very happy.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, I try to project or to have somebody when they're viewing it, I think about what the viewer's how they're gonna react to what I'm doing. And often I'm doing dance, and what I want in that case is to have the people feel the rhythm of the dance and what it feels like to dance, and so that conveys back and forth between the picture, which is about dance and often done in a quick style, that's energetic style, that's like dance, and have the thing about the viewer feeling like that. And people tell me, they look at my paintings and they say, it makes me feel like dancing. And I say, that's it.
Job done.
In this one, it's different. It's not dance, it's something else. But that it can, somebody was telling me the other day how strongly they related to that picture and what that meant to them, so that the expressive quality of art is important to me, and I try to have some idea of what I want to express. some things you would not want to have in your living room that I've done because they express things you just wouldn't want to live in. And I don't know what to do about paintings like that, but you know, there's things that are sad or things that are threatening or things like that that it's still interesting to do them, even though you know you're probably not going to sell them.
How long does it take to do the artwork?
The quicker, the better. I
In
would
one
say.
go, one day?
If you
or-
work on it too much, it's probably not that good. You know, it looks worked over, and so I have a piece at home that I probably did in 20 minutes. It was just a painting. It's of a man dancing. It's like I don't know, like an Aboriginal person or something like that. And I did that so quickly, and yet it was spot on, you know, and that's a nice feeling when you can do that. It doesn't happen often. Well, thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Again, Steve.
Certainly, thank you.
Yes.
All right.